Guess I'm gonna have to. If it's up to you if you want to wait for the other commissioners, but if at time, then you would, since there is no current vice chair or chairman, you would vote a chair pro tem to start the meeting and get it going. It's under the rules.
Mr. Chair, I don't know how to make this mic work, but but I'd like to nominate Commissioner Joe Gonzalez to be the chair pro tem for this meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's you, buddy.
That being said, here we go again. So I know Commissioner Aguilar is going to be a little bit late, but with that, I'd like to call this meeting into order for what is it? 14? December 14th at 3:02. Let me find the agenda. So this time, invocation. Being the vice chair's here, I'll hand it over to him.
Commissioner. Good. Are you calling in for the meeting? Let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and put you on speaker, and I'm going to put you on by Miguel. That would be the best place. Right, give me 1 second. Commissioner Aguilar, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Okay, he's set up. Okay, welcome everyone to our first meeting of the year. First of all, I'd like to say welcome to our new commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. I know we have Aguilar, Commissioner Aguilar is also on the line. Then also, thank you for joining us as well. For everybody else, welcome back. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday, restful break and whatnot. So let's go ahead and get the meeting started. I call the meeting to order at 3:03. If somebody may want to do the invocation, please.
I'll give it a whirl.
Okay.
So I'm pretty simple though. Everybody stand up. Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you for last year getting us through 2024. Thank you for 2025 and all that you have in store for us. And me personally, I pray for warm weather. And as far as our new leaders, the new president coming in, that to give them some guidance to make the right decisions with humanity in consideration. And for me as a commissioner and the commissioners here, that we do the same, to do your work through us and do the best for our constituents. Thank you. And for health. Also.
We're going to move on to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of Mexico and the beautiful, perfect, and just human culture.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, if we can we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Joe Gonzalez,
Here.
Commissioner Craig Secretarial,
Here.
Commissioner John Aguilar,
Here.
Commissioner Daniel Monet,
Here.
Commissioner Philip Montoya.
Here.
Okay, the next item, approval of the agenda. Did everybody get a chance to look at the agenda?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
make a motion to approve.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
The motion was made by Commissioner Monette and second by Commissioner Gonzalez. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Number 7, organizational new business. Number A, letter A, consideration resolution 2025-01, appointment of chairman and vice chairman. Do I have any nomination? You can nominate somebody, or you can pretty much appoint yourself, and we'll go ahead and take it to a vote.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to nominate Joe Gonzalez as chairperson.
I'll second.
Okay, so there was a nomination made for Joe Gonzalez to be chairperson. Nomination was made by Commissioner Monette, and then also second by Commissioner, was it Aguilar or Montoya? So, Joe, are you willing to?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, Joe is willing to step up. So, all in favor?
Aye.
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 No mistake.
Okay, so we will go ahead and proceed with that. Everyone agreed, so most definitely motion is passed. Joe Gonzalez as our chairperson. That's what spot.
Mr. Chairman, before we do, you take nominations for the vice chair, and then the entire resolution collectively, and the entire resolution will need to be voted on as a whole.
Okay, all right, so the nomination for chairperson be Commissioner Gonzalez. Do I have a nomination for vice chair?
I'll nominate Craig.
I'll second.
Okay, so nomination was made by Commissioner Montoya. Sorry, and then also second by Commissioner Monette. Let me touch base with Mr. Secretarial, see if and he says yes, he will most definitely help out you guys with that. So in that case, motion. I need a motion to go ahead and accept as it is in regards to our chairperson with Commissioner Gonzalez, and then also Vice Chair Commissioner Secretarial.
So move.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion was made by Commissioner Monette, second by Commissioner Gonzalez. So be it. Do we need a vote on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Roll call.
Oh, yeah, roll call vote,
Yeah.
sorry.
Commissioner Joe Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Craig Secretarial,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner John Aguilar,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Daniel Monet,
Yes.
Commissioner Philip Montoya.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is, yeah, just
Okay.
do me a favor to get my stuff together. So the next item on the agenda for business is 7B, consider resolution 2025-02, the Open Meetings Act.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this resolution is required annually by the Open Meetings Act, 1015-1, that you set how notices to be published. Remains the same as it is, which notice is published on the website and also given to newspapers and other media organizations that request it. It's also the time where you set your annual, what your regular meetings are, which historically have been on the second and fourth Tuesday. The times have historically varied, but those are generally the meetings. It's up to this board to keep the same days, keep the same times, or change those, as well as it sets forth the rules and regulations for going into executive session, as well as calling special meetings, which those are relatively standard in this resolution.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, it's my recommendation that we amend the current times of the meetings themselves. The recommendation that I would like to put forward is that we keep the second Tuesday of the month as our meeting time. We move it to 1 o'clock, as that would give us more access to the staff. That way, if there are any questions, we're able to answer those more expeditiously. And if we need to have a special meeting, we can still do it on the fourth Tuesday of the month. But by having it once a month, we can now roll through the business and just have it at that one time. So that would be my recommendation to the board, would be the first Tuesday of the month at 1 o'clock.
And then if need to, we'll have a second one on the fourth Tuesday. Is that what you're saying?
If need be, we would have it as a special meeting that we could schedule it later on in the month if something happened that we needed to have a meeting.
Mr. Chairman? Joe,
Yes,
can I ask a question?
yeah.
Does that work for legal?
It works great for me. I'm at your service.
So you're saying the first meeting at 1? That's
right.
And the second meeting at 5?
I think not to publish a second meeting, but have that available. Just know that we could always call a special meeting.
So you want to eliminate the second meeting?
Correct.
Unless we're needed. Correct.
So just one meeting a month?
That's also standard with many commissions of this size too. It's, you can have as many meetings or as few as you like.
You're scheduling it for 1, but if you don't have a meeting, then you have it on the second meeting, second Tuesday of the month.
Commissioner Aguilar,
Yes.
did you hear that recommendation by the manager?
1 meeting a month, did I hear?
Yeah.
Pretty much the second Tuesday, 1 meeting a month, and then if need be, we will have the second meeting on the fourth Tuesday of the month.
On Tuesday of the month, if needed.
And then the first meeting will be held at 1 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Yeah.
How does everybody else do it?
Well, my thinking on that is I understand the 1 meeting a month, but I think we should have 2 meetings a month. But if we're going to go to 1 meeting a month, I think we should have it at 5 o'clock in the interest of the commissioners being able to make that meeting. There's some that are currently working, and I know we went half and half, something to do with the employees and overtime and that type of thing, but I'm over that, I guess, just to put it bluntly. And to conduct business, the commissioners need to be here, we need to make quorums, and it was kind of an issue last year. So I was just thinking of 2 meetings a month, both at 5 o'clock, but I like what Andy says, where if we have it scheduled for 1 meeting, the first Tuesday at 5 o'clock, and then if we get all the business done and there's nothing that comes up that we need to address at a special meeting, then we won't have that second meeting. I guess that's my thought.
What are your thoughts, Commissioner Aguilar?
I mean, I can see both points. I see Mr. Electric's point there too. As Joe was explaining, less overtime, more people can be there. If need be, I can make it. I can restaurant. Ahead of time. I mean, what do you think, Craig?
I like the idea, but like I said, in terms of most importantly, having everyone here, I would probably move that back to 5 o'clock. Just 5 o'clock for the first meeting, and if it's truly okay with manager, we'll go ahead and have one meeting a month, which is the second Tuesday of the month, and then if we need to, we'll have another meeting on the fourth Tuesday of the month. Am I understanding that right?
Okay.
And
what did Joe propose? Commissioner Gonzalez propose?
Joe preferred to continue to have the meetings at 5 o'clock. So
I think we're talking about the same as far as the fourth of the month. It's still the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, right? It's not a special third meeting since we didn't have the other two meetings. It's still the 2 meetings a month, yeah. So it's kind of the same, John, but the second meeting of the month, the fourth Tuesday of the month is only if necessary.
Okay, I see. Okay, yeah.
And I think it'll be necessary because, Bob, it just depends on what happens in the 2 weeks.
Mr. Chairman, so what's gonna serve the best interest of the public, not us?
I think that's why, it was a surprise to me to have one meeting a month, If we can take care of the county business for the constituents on that first meeting of the month, then we have the meeting and it gets done, and if something comes up that we need to address for the constituents or whatever, then we still have the option of the second meeting, that it can wait till the following month. In other words, we're not gonna put stuff up just because we only have one meeting in a month, I guess the thinking maybe is one meeting in a month, pretty adequate to take care of the county business. But we should have an option in case something else comes up, And I understand the 1 o'clock, and I'm saying if we go to try to have one meeting in a month, that meeting is gonna be quite long based on how the meetings have ran in the past. Some are not as long, but generally they get kind of long, just depending on that special executive session, yeah.
So if we do the one meeting a month with the secondary meeting only if necessary, I think it should be at 5 o'clock, giving the opportunity for the public to attend when they're off work.
Sure. So,
Yes.
so both meetings will be at 5. As far as the attendance from the public, if there's an interest, they're gonna show up, and it was more of, we changed it to 1 to try and work with the employees that had to be here, that way they don't have to come after hours and so forth. But at the end of the day, they work for the constituents too. So at 5 o'clock gives the commissioners who at times can't make it at 5 because they're still working on their full-time jobs. That's why we need to move back to 5.
Anybody else? Okay. I will go ahead and check with manager again. So you're sure that'll be suffice for time being in regards to, so you're okay with that?
Yes, 5 o'clock will be fine.
Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and make, if I may, gentlemen, let me go ahead and make the motion to have our Open Meetings Act, the time changed and also the format in regards to having the first meeting of the month on the second Tuesday at 5 p.m. And then the second meeting of the month, if necessary, we will have it on the fourth Tuesday of the month at 5 p.m. So that'll be my motion.
Second.
Second.
We got a first and a second from Commissioner Zacatero and a tie with Monet and Aguilar to move it as having the first meeting at 5 o'clock and with the option to have a second meeting if necessary at the fourth Tuesday in the month, also at 5 o'clock. Vote. Yeah.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. That's Resolution 2025-02, Open Meetings Act. Okay, next item on the agenda is consider Resolution 2025-03, Public Participation Rules.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this resolution sets forth what are basically the rules of decorum for the public to participate. And really it's meant to address the public comment section. It's important to note that a public comment section is not required by law. This is a board meeting, and under the law, only the 5 board members really have the ability to participate in the meeting. However, if you do allow public participation through public comment, as this board has historically done, then you can only restrict the time, place, and manner. So the general thing that is on here is that for the last few years, the amount of time for public comment has been 5 minutes. I will say that most commissions do 3 minutes. I have seen commissions do 5 minutes and longer, some unlimited, but it is important that you set the specific time if you would like to change that. Other than that, the rules are of decorum are pretty standard.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
I'd make a motion that we, in favor of the public participation rule and limit the public participation to 3 minutes.
So from 5 to 3.
Yes, sir.
From 5 to 3.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Monet and Commissioner Zacatero. Any discussion? Hearing none, you can vote to approve. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Motion passes. Okay, next item on the agenda is D, consider a resolution 2025-04, parliamentary procedures, Robert rules.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this resolution sets forth that Robert's Rules is the guide for this commission. However, it is not the end-all be-all, in that if there's, somebody doesn't formulate their motion correctly or doesn't meet with some technical aspect of Robert's Rules, it doesn't invalidate it, because of course Robert's Rules can get very complicated. But it would be the guide. It also sets forth special rules that would not be found in Robert's Rules. For instance, that the chairman is required to vote, and that's because we're not a corporation, we're a public body, so people have the right to see how their elected official votes. And it also determines how the agenda is set, and generally what that is that the county manager sets the agenda. However, any board member may place whatever item they like on the agenda. If it's not regular county business, the manager sets regular county business, but this board is free to set items on the agenda it chooses as well. If you have any questions, let me know.
If there's any questions, I need a motion for approval of parliamentary procedures, Robert's Rules, resolution 2025-04.
Sir, we will go ahead and adopt that. So I make the motion.
Second.
We have a first and a second by Zacatero and Monet. Any comments? Hearing none, I make the motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Against? Motion passes. Resolution 2025-04, parliamentary procedure rules, Robert's Rules. And as you notice, I struggle with them, but I'll try and get better with them. Next business is item E, resolution 2025-05, working hours and paid holidays.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this resolution sets forth the hours for most offices and regular employees, which is from 8 to 5. It does set out that that offices where required, for instance, the detention center, the sheriff's office, the road department may be on different schedules. The second thing that it does is set out annually what holidays this board is going to give. Now, what's important about that is that holidays are not set by the state or the federal government. Basically, this board has the right to say, guess what, no holiday if everyone works, or it can give additional holidays if it so chooses. Historically, Socorro County has granted more holidays than the state, but what you have before you is based on the state's current holidays with a few additional holidays added. And you certainly have the right to change those, remove or add as you see fit.
You heard our attorney, need a motion to move forward.
Chairman, I do have a question.
Go ahead.
This is for our manager. In terms of, were there any big changes from last year to what we have this year? Of course, the dates, but
So there's a change to where last year you gave 2 quote unquote floating holidays that had no date. This calendar sets the dates. That way everybody has the opportunity to plan their vacations rather than waiting for me to make a decision sometime later on in the year. So it just sets those 2. And then the other big thing you'll notice with the change is going to be the half day prior to Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so we're just putting that into the calendar already so everybody can plan for it.
I'm okay with that.
And to approve as presented.
I'll second.
And a motion to approve the, what is it called? Resolution 2025 working hours by Commissioner Monet, and seconded by Greg Pepitero. All in favor? All in favor? Need a vote? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Resolution 2025-05 working hours and paid holidays passes. Next resolution, 2025-07 signature on checks.
I believe we're at 06, Mr. Chair.
Did I skip one? Oh, yeah, I did. I have a deposit before I sign the check. Resolution 2025-06 establishing the depositories.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this resolution is required by Mexico statute 6610 to recognize where this board and the county treasurer are allowed to keep money. And it sets forth the banking institutions that hold a physical presence here, as well as the local government investment pool. Now, this resolution does not say how much money is going to be kept in which ones. It just states which ones are available. Choosing to invest is up to the treasurer and this board sitting as the Board of Finance.
There's the attorney, do you have?
So pretty much the same format from last year, right?
There's just a form resolution, yes, sir.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Second.
So first motion to approve by Commissioner Pepitero, second by Commissioner Monet. Resolution 2025-06 establishing depositories. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Next item G, resolution 2025 signature on checks.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, pursuant to state law, all checks have to be signed by the county treasurer. That is unwaivable. Secondly, state law says the second signature has to be either the chairman or the chairman's designee. This board gets to determine whether only the chairman signs checks or it can be a designee. Historically, this county has authorized all 5 commissioners to sign checks, considering the great distances. Sometimes someone needs to come in and sign, and the chairman's not available. However, that is up to this board if they would like to, whomever it would like to designate, apart from the chairman or none.
You You're the attorney. Presently, it's anybody can sign, any commissioner and the treasurer.
If everything was, it looks like everything is pretty much the same from last year, so most definitely I will make the motion to proceed with that.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. A motion from Craig Zacatero, Commissioner Zacatero, second from Commissioner Montoya for approval. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 2025-07. Resolution I. H. Signature, Resolution 2025-08, signature authority on grantee checks.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, what this resolution does is basically when this board approves a grant agreement, there are quite often, I hate to say it, but a ridiculous number of documents that have to be signed with a grant agreement that really are formulaic and shouldn't have to come back before the board. So what it's saying is if the grant itself is approved by this board, then the individuals delegated on this resolution can sign the other documents. Historically, we've had the manager, the finance director, as well as the chairman to be a grantee representative. It's up to this board, but often we have to use this resolution to show somebody, FEMA or whatever. Well, actually, they have the authority to sign off on it. Here's the resolution that allows it.
Motion to approve
With the chairman, Mr. Monette?
as it has, yes, the chairman.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Monette, second by Commissioner Zacatero. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion, Resolution 2025-08, signature authority on grantee checks passes. Next on the agenda is item I, Resolution 2025-09, delegation of authority for contracts.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this resolution sets forth, is based on the basic principle that in the county, if it has to do with funding, only this body has the authority to approve any contract. That said, there are lots of contracts where it doesn't make sense to have, to bring it before this body. And so a certain amount of authority is delegated to the manager to sign contracts. This is proposed as it has been in the past, as far as the dollar amount, which is to give the chair and the manager $40,000 in approval authority. That's completely up to this board. I've seen commissions that have, as low as $1,000, and I've seen them go to $250,000. It's whatever this board feels comfortable with. Because in the past 2 years, it has been $40,000.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve it, the amount of $40,000.
I will go ahead now, second.
Got a motion from Commissioner Monette and a second from Commissioner Zacatero for the approval of Resolution 2025-09. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion 2025-09, delegation of authority for contract passes. Item J, Resolution 2025-10, disbursement of vendor checks.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this is similar to the grantee representative for processing vendor checks, and these are generally checks that we have to that come up all the time. For instance, your utilities or a lease payment, and so that process would be to go through the county manager if okay with the commission.
Do I have a motion for approval?
I will go ahead and make that one.
I'll second. A motion from Commissioner Zacatero, a second from Commissioner Montoya for Resolution 2025-10, disbursement of vendor checks. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 2025-10, disbursement of vendor checks passes. K, consideration of resolution 2025-11, inspection of public records.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, the Inspection of Public Records Act, section 1427, requires that this board annually determine who the custodian of records is, and that generally means if there's a public records request, it may end up going to the road department or to the sheriff, but who is ultimately responsible for complying with the strict requirements of those? And historically, it has been the manager to process those requests. And that's how it is before you today, unless you'd like to make a change to that resolution.
I have one question. What about like stuff that the clerk's office normally handles, deeds and so forth?
So, great question. The Inspection of Public Records Act only recognizes basically what we do for business and for the administration of counties as public records pursuant to that act. Something that would fall into the assessor's office or the clerk's office falls under the Records or the Recording Act. And so there are different rules for those types of requests. But if it comes in from the sheriff's office, that's county business, not the public business. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Secretarial, second by Commissioner Monette for approval of resolution 2025-11, inspection of public records. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution 2025-11, inspection of public records passes. Next item, L, resolution 2025-12, appointment of Housing Authority board members.
And Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, the L through W are going to be appointment resolutions. I believe you have a handout for this one about appointing to the Housing Authority, which used to be exclusively a Socorro Housing Authority, but under the leadership of Mariana, it's expanded to the El Camino Real. So it's beyond just our boundaries. And I believe she may have recommendations or would like to speak.
Floor is yours, Marianne.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. We have a 5-member board. We do have Lonnie Marcus as our board, Valentina Naya.
Michelle.
Jaramillo Hawks is another board member, and Jose Lencho Vega. We do have one vacant spot in our commission that we will be appointing at the next Housing Authority board meeting. And then we do have one board member out of Valencia County, which is Wayne Gallegos.
So you just wrote one?
Yes, and we'll be appointing that on the 28th of this month. So in February, we'll come back to the commission to approve that commissioner.
So, Mr. Chairman, in that case, we might want to just table this until the next meeting, and that way you can do the appointment all at once.
Okay. I mean,
Bring it back.
We'll discussion.
That's pretty good. That's a very good recommendation. I do have one question in regards to, so individuals that have termed out as of January 1st, 2025, what is next steps for this?
We're going to reappoint them.
Okay, reappoint them?
Yes.
Okay.
And Mr. Vice Chairman, under the New Mexico Constitution, I mean, the appointment has to happen with this body, except for Mr. Gallegos. But that said, under the New Mexico Constitution, they will remain in their positions until their successor is duly qualified.
Thank you for clarification.
Thank you.
So recommendation is to table?
Okay.
Second that motion.
So I have a motion to table resolution 2025-12, appointment of housing authorities till February.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2025-12 is tabled. Item M, Resolution 2025-13, appointment of SCCOG board member.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this is a very important board for our South Central Council of Government. And it's up to this board who it would like to have as far as the representative from the commission. And we would request that the manager be the alternate. It's completely this board's discretion.
Mr. Chairman, who currently serves on that board?
I do.
And then it was Mr. Commissioner Martinez, right? Yeah.
I believe it was Commissioner Martinez.
Any recommendations? I recommend Annie to be the alternate, so.
How often do they meet, Mr. Nance, do you know?
Andy knows that one better than me.
They're currently meeting quarterly, so once every 3 months.
If it pleases the commission, Mr. Chairman, I'll accept that position.
Second.
I guess that's, you call it, a motion and an acceptance from Commissioner Monette and a second by Commissioner Secretary. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Consideration of Resolution 2025-13, appointment of SCOG is approved with Commissioner Monette being the delegate and our manager, Andy Locktrick, being the alternate. Resolution and consideration of resolution, item 9, consideration of resolution 2025-14, appointment of regional planning organization.
Mr. Chairman, I believe that the current, I'm not sure who the current, you know who the current person is? I would suggest that certainly, it's up to this board, it can be, and I'm pulling that right now, it can be the manager, or it can be any of the commissioners as alternates. I believe there's 3 slots.
There's 3.
Mr. Chairman? Does this have to do with transportation also, Mr. Nance, doesn't it?
It does. It has to do more with meeting with like the South Central Council of Governments. It's not a council government, but it does have to do more with centralized area, more of the city-county interaction.
The second part of that question, would this be something we may want to consider our road superintendent for? Just curious. I don't know if that's something that would fall under his realm of.
I would think it would be a management, more of the administrator, like for instance, the county manager would probably be appropriate. The current board consists of the manager. The alternates are Joe Gonzalez and our finance director, Semi.
With that being said, I'd make the motion to keep the same people on that board that currently serve on that board.
I'll second. We have a motion from Commissioner Monette and a second from Commissioner Montoya for the approval of resolution 2025-14. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2025-14 is approved with the 3 that were mentioned. Item O, resolution 2025, Mexico County of Insurance Authority Board appointment.
Mr. Chairman, this is an important board that certainly has a lot to regulate our insurance, which is done by a pool of the Association of Counties. Currently, the members appointed are John Aguilar, and the manager is an alternate.
Hear a motion or discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I have a discussion, if I may. Such a large part of our budget goes to pay for our insurance, and with the ever-changing times, it seems like it keeps going up and up. And I'm glad to hear that Commissioner Aguilar and the county manager both serve on that board. And I just got off that board in December. And unless you run for one of the subcommittees on that board, they only meet twice a year. So as long as we make sure somebody from the county attends those 2 meetings, I would make the motion that we continue to have the 2 current reps on there if Commissioner Aguilar is willing to continue serving on that.
Sure, I'll keep it.
So that would be a first and a second. Commissioner, I have a, what do you call it?
Motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Monette and a second from Commissioner Aguilar to keep the appointment of the New Mexico County Insurance Authority Board as it is. That's resolution 2025-15. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion 2025-15 passes. Consideration of resolution 2025-16, appointment of the Lodgers Tax Board.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, if you remember, we do have a lodger's tax. We have had a very difficult time filling this particular board. Certainly we need a member of the public, but we also need a representative from the lodging industry. And we were unable to fill this board last year. If you have any other ideas of who you would like to nominate for this board, then that'd be great, but it's a tough one to fill. And it is an important board in that we do have to run it by this board to determine how we're going to spend our lodger's tax.
Do we have a list of who currently serves on that?
There is no one currently serving on that board. Well, it requires 4 members, 2 from the lodging industry, 2 from tourist-related industries, and 1 from the general public. So that's why it's it requires very specific people under the law to be on this board.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd like to table this also to give us some time to try and come up with some names of people willing to serve on the board.
I'll second. I have a motion, motion from Commissioner Monette, a second from Commissioner Montoya to table resolution 2025-16, appointment of Lodgers Tax, and an attempt to find people to serve on this board. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution 2025-16 is tabled. Resolution 2025-17, appointment of DWI Council Board.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, the current members that need to be appointed, that are on the DWI Council Board, are Craig Secretero as the commission representative, Judge Cerna as the community member, Ricky Padilla as a community member, Lee Armijo as a community member, and Michael Hawks as a community member. Those are the positions that need to be filled.
Have we discussed with the committee members whether they want to continue?
Or draft.
Okay.
Motion to approve that.
Yeah, sorry. Ms. Athena?
Sorry, Athena.
Yes, welcome. Wow. Bye. Yes. Yes, currently those individuals are no longer available, of course, except for Vice Chair Secretero, if he continues to be willing. I have asked, if it's approved, Jackie Muncie, who is part of the schools, Project Aware. I have asked Chris Rotman, 2 Ts. He is part of Socorro County Prevention Coalition, and Lauren Billy as from the Alamo Navajo Court. She's the Alamo Navajo Court Administrator, and we actually are looking for somebody that's a youth And I know the Socorro County Prevention Coalition does have a youth ambassador. So I had asked Chris Rotman if perhaps they can see if we could also have a youth on the board, because that's really important as a community member. So those are the individuals that I have asked, and I don't know, it's up to the county manager and I guess to you if those individuals would be approved.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
So you heard. So anybody want to make a motion for approval?
I'll go ahead and make that motion. I will keep serving on the board.
Thank you.
I'll second.
So a motion from Commissioner Zacatero and a second from Commissioner Montoya for appointment of the DWI Council. That's resolution 2025-17. All in favor?
I'm going to give the names to,
I've got it written down.
okay.
Opposed?
Chris
Rodman. Motion, did I say opposed? Okay. Opposed? Hearing none. Motion 2025-17, appointment of DWI Council Board passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Athena.
Item R, resolution 2025-18, appointment of county fire marshal.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, historically, and per our regulations, the county fire marshal is an important position. However, at this time, it is currently not funded. That said, it is generally taken as a part of a job description and is required to be a county employee unless we change the underlying rules. And I believe the county manager probably has recommendations on this.
So with this one, we made the interim appointment that we had Gail Tripp as the interim fire marshal, but she's now an elected official and no longer an employee of the county. So we would have a couple of options. You could continue her appointment, or at this time, because we do not have the emergency management position filled, you could appoint me as the interim position until such time as we get the other emergency management position filled. And then we could come back with the recommendation that that individual be appointed as the county fire marshal.
And Mr. Chairman, Gail does a great job, but under the rules, it does have to be an employee, and Gail is no longer an employee. She's an official.
So how far are we from the hiring of the emergency management part?
Hopefully in about 2 weeks.
Here's the manager.
Mr. Chairman, I would make the motion that we put the manager in that position until we get an emergency manager on board. At which time we make the emergency manager the fire chief, fire marshal.
I'll second.
Have a motion from Commissioner Monet and a second from Commissioner Zacatero for the appointment of interim fire marshal of our county manager, Andy Lautrick, until we hire a emergency management manager. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2025-18 is approved. Resolution S. No, item S, resolution 2025-19, appointment of county fire chiefs.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, as you know, our fire service is made up by volunteers. But that said, they are still basically county departments, and it is up to this board to certify, to approve the fire chiefs as elected by the membership. Generally, that is generally the commission approves who the membership selects. However, it's not required to do so. And I believe what you have before you is my understanding of the current ones, unless anyone changed.
Correct. What you have in front of you are those individuals that the membership has elected to be their fire chiefs, and it would be my recommendation that we go ahead and honor the wishes of the volunteers.
Do I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Montoya and a second from Commissioner Bonet for the approval of Resolution 2025-19, appointment of county fire chiefs. Item T, Resolution 2025. Oh, yeah, I got it on. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution 2025-19, appointment of county fire chiefs is approved. Item T, Resolution 2025-20, appointment of county livestock loss authority board membership.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this is a board that was established by Catron County, Socorro County, and Sierra County to assist in and administer depredation damages that are paid for by these counties, and as well as funds that can be received from the federal or the state government. The current representative is Antonio Ray Martinez. So I will say it is not required that you have a commissioner on here, but it is generally the practice and probably the recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, if no other commissioners want to fill that seat, I'd be willing to fill that seat.
I'll second.
And for an alternate, the manager or unless the commissioner would like.
That'd be the manager as the alternate.
Mr. Chairman, before you go for further discussion, just so Commissioner Monet's aware, they are going to be meeting, is it next week, Ashley?
17th.
The 17th. Actually, no, that's been moved. They moved it to the,
On third.
I will get you that date once they get it finalized, but they are meeting within the next 3 weeks.
Okay. My understanding that the two public members, one leaving in February, another one I believe is March or April. So they'll have to be reappointed or new people.
Resolution 2025, got a motion from Commissioner Monet to sit on that board as Andy Lotrick as the alternate. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2025, appointment of county livestock authority board member. Item U, Resolution 2025-21, appointment of opioid remediation collaborative board member.
Mr. Chairman, it's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Andy, that is Athena currently on this board?
This is the one that I believe originally Glenn Duggins was appointed to, and then I was appointed to it 3 months ago, I believe is when that appointment was made. And so I've been serving in that capacity for the last 3 months on this board.
And
It's an important board.
What's that?
I'm sorry, I was just saying it's an important board.
It is.
They have some money to spend to try and help with the problem we have.
And for Commissioner Montoya, this was a board that was established by 7 counties, an independent governmental organization. And based on the opioid litigation that the counties had with, that the counties basically, had with all the pharmaceutical companies, and there is a lot of money that is coming in, and this board is established to help these counties utilize that money in the best way possible. I will say this, Socorro County has a very good deal with it in that a bigger county like Valencia County is bringing in a lot more money, but we still have an equal say on this board. So it's a very important board, and it's up to who you'd like as your representative and your alternate.
Mr. Chairman, it's my understanding that Athena is on this.
I was
Would like to
appointed
serve.
as the alternate.
Okay.
So right now it's Andy and Althena.
And yeah, okay.
I'd like to ask the county manager, if I may, if he feels for time better served, if you'd rather have Athena as the rep and you as the alternate, switch roles. I don't know, because it seems like you tie in more with what she's doing currently with them. But there's just a lot of money and they're doing a lot of different things there, and I think it's a great thing.
I think right now my recommendation would leave it as me with Athena as the alternate, that we have 4 other grants that Athena is currently working on and would be overseeing. So for time-wise and capacity, especially now that I've got my feet wet with this entity and organization, I think Socorro County would be better utilized right now, having Athena stay locally overseeing those other grants, and then I travel to these meetings.
With that being said, I would make the motion that we leave it as the county manager as the representative with the alternate being Athena.
I'll second.
So a motion from Commissioner Monet and a second from Commissioner Aguilar for passage of resolution 2025-21, appointment of opioid remediation collaborative board member. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2025-21 passes. Item B, consideration of resolution 2025-22, appointment of Central Solid Waste Authority board member.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, according to the joint powers agreement with the city and the village of Magdalena, this board does have 2 appointees on this current board, and the 2 appointees currently are Joe Gonzalez and John Aguilar. I do not believe this board meets very often, if at all, but that said, if it does, it certainly is important.
Mr. Chairman, are you 2 willing to continue serving?
To continue, yes, sir.
Motion that we keep the same 2 members on it.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Monet, a second from Commissioner Zacatero, for resolution 2025-22, appointment of Central Solid Waste Authority board member. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2025-22 passes. W, consideration of resolution 2025-23, appointment of Arizona, New Mexico Coalition of County Board members.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, the Arizona, New Mexico counties is a group that was established by both counties from New Mexico and Arizona, as it says, and they really deal with a lot of basically Western environmental issues and advocacy for for counties. The current representative was Antonio Ray Martinez.
Do you have any recommendations?
If I may, this is going to be one of those that the emails are quite extensive, that the meetings are either bi-weekly or monthly, and the amount of communication that comes from this coalition is quite extensive. That over the past couple of months during the transition period, I've been receiving all of those. I can tell you, you're probably going to be receiving at least 9 to 10 emails a week with detailed information.
Does it have to be a commissioner? Can we reach out to the?
This one's not right.
You look, you're looking away.
If it can be somebody for the community.
I believe that this one does need to be a commissioner.
I've got the time to do it. If you want me to, I'll do it.
Do it.
If it's the wishes of the commission.
You got boots and I got sandals.
Yeah. I'm going to see your sandal, by the way.
There you go. They're vaqueros over there. So I'll take that as a motion from Commissioner Monet, or we've just said this commission. Do I hear a second?
And we need an alternate as well.
Oh, no. I'll be the alternate. Okay. So do we have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion from Commissioner Monet, and a second from Commissioner Montoya for the appointment of his Arizona, New Mexico Coalition of County Board member. with Monette being the guy and I'll be the alternate. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, Commission, resolution 2025-23 passes. Holy smoke, we did all that. Okay, item 8, approval of minutes from November 26, 2024. Motion to approve the minutes from November 26, 2024. Second. We have a motion from Commissioner Aguilar and a second from Commissioner Montoya for approval of the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Item 9, committee and department reports.
Mr. Chair, before we get to the written reports, at this time, I'd like to go ahead and call up Mr. Martinez, who is the new road director. That there had been a request previously from the board to go ahead and have him do his presentation so that we could do introductions, since this is the first meeting since his hire. So at this time, I'll go ahead and have Mr. Martinez introduce himself.
Commissioners. How's it going, Commissioners?
Good.
Martinez, Socorro County Director. 20 years of experience, started in 2004 after high school at DOT. With them, Capture County, and now there's Socorro County. Commissioners, can I copy of the ground request?
Yes, sir.
All these ground requests have been completed. Well, copy of our weekly logs. Receive those?
Yes, sir. Nice to see you. It's very nice to see you. Yeah. Prior to this, we didn't have any logs, sir. Thank you very much. Maintenance report. Yeah, what you have there is, thanks to your vote and direction, I believe it was 3 months ago when we adopted the new written reports for citizens to send us their issues about roads and everything else, that what you're now seeing is the final step of that process. Once we had the road director in place, that we're now able to track those road requests that come in and show you what has been done with those requests as they now come forward. And so Mr. Martinez has done an excellent job now of carrying the baton for us the rest of the way, so that you can now see the action that's coming about with those requests that are coming from directly from the citizens.
Working your way in there, feeling comfortable, or
Yes, sir.
things going and moving, and
Everything's moving in the right direction.
see the light ahead of the tunnel? Into the tunnel there?
Oh,
Glad you're here.
thank you.
Well, welcome aboard. Nice to meet you. Manager, what's the status in regards to filling positions there? Are we fully capacity? What's the?
We are not yet at full capacity. We are slowly getting there. We have a couple more of the positions that have been filled. We do have anticipated to make one other hiring decision later this week, and that will be going into effect. But we still have, we'll still have an opening for another road position to be filled.
As an operator, or what positions are you filling?
Yes, we will be filling the either an operator 1 or operator 2 position, depending upon the qualifications of the applicants.
I see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you. Thank you, sir.
I don't need that. Take action. Anybody else? Tina? No.
Hello again, commissioners. Thank you. So like the county manager did say, we are working actually on 3 of the DFA, the Department of Finance grants, which are okay, there we go. Which will be due March 4th. And I just wanted, for those of you that don't know, Stephanie Sarate, she is our DWI coordinator. So I just wanted to mention that to the county manager that due to the change of the meetings, I just want to make sure it gives us 1 commission meeting to have 3 grants done, which would be the February 11th, which is going to be really, really tight for us. So if any signatures need to happen, so I just want to make sure that you have access another way to the commissioners if signatures need to be done at another time as well.
So one of the things that the commission did do when they approved the single meeting is we do have the opportunity to have another special meeting if needed. But the anticipation is with the DWI compliance office, we have that meeting tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. So we should be able to get all of these moving in the direction they need to be and anticipated to have them ready for approval by the February meeting.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you again.
Are those applications or actual receiving the grants immediately talking about? What the deal with it?
It will be the actual grant applications themselves, filling out all of the questions, putting all of the narratives together. That they are continuations of grants that we have, but now we're in the phase of reviewing and modifying them based upon current needs.
Thank you very much again.
Thank you. Item 9, the manager's report.
There in front of you, you should have the Socorro County calendar. That this is going to be one of those initiatives that we have been working closely with our local paper, the El Defensor Chieftain, to be able to start doing some of that branding that has been talked about previously. That the new branding is Socorro County, a great place to grow. And for each different activity, we've been having a different moniker that we have used. So if you go to the month of October, you'll notice that Socorro County is going to have sponsorship of that month. And you'll notice that Socorro County, a great place to grow, world-renowned chili. And so these are some of the different things that behind the scenes that you don't kind of see on an everyday scale as to what we've been doing to expand our outreach into both the community, the county, and the state as a whole to try to get Socorro County's name out there and to show all of the different things that we have as a county to make individuals understand all of the benefits that are part of our county here in Socorro County. The other things that have been taking place, of course, is working directly with the new road director, getting some of those projects updated, getting out there and addressing some of those concerns. And now as we get into the next part of the fiscal year, we will be getting into meetings with each of the department heads, going over the different budget requirements and their requests so that we can come forward and have that quote unquote wish list and be able to break it down in front of you as to the directions that we're wanting to go and kind of be needed. So that way, my hope is to have all the department head meetings completed
prior to actually coming in and starting the budget discussions with you all.
Question, Chairman. Manager, so what is your status in regards to meeting with department heads at this point?
So at this point, with the budget process itself, the meetings are going to be with each department head individually, along with Sammy Vega Finch. That way she'll be involved in it as our finance director, but they will be one-on-one with each department head rather than having a singular department head meeting where everybody doesn't get to speak openly and frankly and have the time. This way we can go over each of their budgets individually as a department.
No, okay, so I guess, do you meet with them on a regular basis?
I probably meet with them more often than they want to see me. That there is not a routine department meeting that I'm having with them, but rather I pop in and out quite frequently. So just in the past 2 weeks alone, you know, there's probably been at least 3 to 4 times that I've been into the treasurer's office, the assessor's office, and probably just, this is Tuesday, so just probably the last 7 business days, I've been over at the detention center probably at least 4 to 5 times, as well as we had one of our grant meetings there at the detention center for 8 hours last week. And so these are the different types of things that we are meeting with the actual department heads more frequently and more often than we have in the past.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Item 9C, Commissioners Report. Commissioner Aguilar.
I hope everybody had a good holiday. Just like to personally congratulate and welcome our 2 new commissioners here. And look forward to doing great things. Hopefully do some good things for our community here.
Commissioner Montoya.
Just glad to be aboard and look forward to working with all of you guys.
Vice Chair Zacatero.
I just have we forwarded any type of gentlemen in terms of, or email, everything, do we square that away yet? Have we squared that away yet?
Yeah, so the one thing we still are working on is one iPad that still needs to be returned and coming in. Their emails are updated and they are working. So everything is good in that direction. The one thing that when we have the new commissioners coming in, we notice that there's only one phone that has been actually given to the commissioners. Vice Chair, that's you. You're the only one that currently has the county issued phone and phone number. So it'll be one of those things that we will need to have the discussions with, because we get requests from the citizens as to how they should contact you all. So we will need to eventually come forward with how you all would like to be contacted, what numbers, with just the reminder that whatever number we provide to the community you do business on, then that's going to be public record. So we need to make sure that anything that you have on those phones could be part of an information request.
And then, so from I guess from here on out, we will have all these forms, all the names and everything changed, right?
Come again, I did not understand that.
No, I mean with the different commissioners.
The letterhead.
The letterhead and everything.
Yes, so at the next meeting, all of the letterhead will be changed to reflect the new commissioners.
Thank you.
Commissioner Monet.
Thank you. I look forward to working with all of you. We've all known each other for quite some time, so I think we'll have a very good working relationship. I want to bring positivity to the seat that I'm filling, and I appreciate everything you've done. I think Socorro's in a good place, and I only see it getting better, and look forward to working with all of you. Oh, I would also like to thank the manager. Yesterday, we spent a couple hours driving through my district, looking at some stuff, and It's very beneficial, and thank you very much for doing that with me yesterday.
You're welcome.
As for myself, Happy New Year, and like John said, I want to welcome Commissioner Montoya, Commissioner Monet, Philip, and Danny. So I look forward to working with you guys, and
Was that Robert's Rule of Order? I know you love it.
and I'll figure it out in about 2 years. I'll forget. But yeah, like I said, we're a small community. We know each other, and all we do is common sense and the best for everybody. Okay, next item, 9, acknowledge, we're gonna do D and E together, December, is that okay? Did I make it wrong? December and January 2024, oh, December 2024, we're taking January 2025. We wanna do that?
Go ahead and do it. Go.
Right.
December birthdays. Ryan Armijo Detention Center, December 6th. Vanessa Munoz, Manager's Office, December 17th. Rosacela Pachito, Detention Center, December 17th. Marty Salas, Road Department, November 18th. Embro Apache, Detention Center, December 23rd. Albie Taylor, Maintenance Department, December 30th. January birthdays. Gonzalo Lopez, Sheriff's Department, January 1st. David Aranjo, Assessor's Office, January 2nd. Augusta Amaro Lucero, Sheriff's Department, January 4th. Jerome Monte, Detention Center, January 8th. Chris Rico, Sheriff's Department, January 13th. Brittany Chavez, Clerk's Office, January 21st. Brendan Chavez, Sheriff's Department, January 21st. Danny, is that you, sir?
Yes,
Daniel.
Daniel Onet, County Commissioner, January 23rd. Waylon Melton, Sheriff's Department, January 26th. Jaylene Martinez, Treasurer's Office, January 26th. Anderson Pino, Detention Center, January 27th.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Okay, next item on the list is public comment. During this portion of our meeting, we welcome your suggestions and want to hear your concern. This is not a question and answer period. Speakers will be limited to just change it. The county commission is not able to take actions on matters discussed during public comment. Speakers are requested to state their name for the record. Do we have public comment? Hearing none, number 11, presentation. Number 1, C space or C pace, yeah.
Thank you for having me, commissioners. You can hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And I had a slide deck, I believe, might have been shared with folks, or?
Yeah, we had technical difficulties, so we're not able to put it up. But what we will be doing at the conclusion of this meeting is making sure that everybody has the slide deck available to them.
No problem. So my name is Eric Christensen. I work for Adelante Consulting, which is a New Mexican environmental consulting company. And we serve as the program administrator for the New Mexico CPACE program, which is a program of the state's economic development department. So we've been asked to serve for 4 years as the program administrator for their program. My hope is to provide like a 15-minute overview of the CPACE program. I might shorten it, just knowing that I don't have like the slides before me. And then you can take a look at information, and our organization is willing to come back or answer any questions that you might have. So CPACE stands for Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy, and it's an alternative source of program.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Manager, can we have that slide now instead of after the back?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. If you don't mind, with your permission, Chairman. What we'll go ahead and do is we'll switch places with you and PHI, and that'll give Ashley an opportunity to go and print the slides, and then we can have them in front of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So we'll move on to item 11B, PHI insurance.
Chair, Commissioners, thank you for having us. I have a couple of contracts if I might correct and give them to you. Just for the county stuff. A couple of the same one. Just a minute. Okay. So thank you for having us. I work for PHI Air Medical. It's time for the renewal for your municipal site plan. So if you already know this information or you want me to speed through, feel free to interrupt me at any time. So just an overview of the air medical industry. There's over 550,000 air ambulance flights every year, which is 1,506 per day and 63 flights an hour, which equates to about a flight every second. As you well know, here in the state of New Mexico, we have one level 1 trauma center servicing 2.2 million people. So we do have limited medical resources. What we do at PHI is we bring medical resources where there isn't as much medical resources. So what we can do in the aircraft, and I'm going to let my flight nurse Tammy explain that to you, but what we can do in the aircraft is sometimes more, or not sometimes, all the time more than what they can do in an ambulance. Ambulance services, of course, are very much needed. They will rendezvous with them and meet up with them and take clients to the next level of service. We do a couple of things. We do the hospital transports as well as scene flights. So if there's an accident on I-25 or anywhere near here, or even within Socorro that renders air ambulance, we will be called out typically by your sheriffs or your fire department, and they will land us and communicate with us all the way over here. So with that being said, I'm going to let Cammy explain to you some stuff about weather restrictions and also what they can do within the aircraft.
Hello, Mr. Chair and members of the board. My name is Cammy Barker McDowell. I'm from Grants, New Mexico, born and raised. I also have lots of family members here, as Danny's one of them. So just a little bit of my background. I became a nurse back in 2016, worked in my little county hospital there, and then ventured out. I've been a nurse for approximately 9 years now. I started with PHI 6 months ago, and with PHI, they are very extensive with our education. And with that being said, they provide us with a lot of different things to make sure that we have the ability to do like what are called finger thoracostomies, where if there's somebody with a major accident and they have a collapsed lung, we're able to then, provide them with access to be able to, take the blood out of their lung essentially, and then provide air back in their lung, where we have the ability to intubate them, transfer them intubated and on a ventilator. We have the ability to take impellas, which are different medical equipment to help with a cardiac device, different things like that. We have 3 different air ambulances here in the state of New Mexico. One is stationed in Grants, one is stationed in Rio Rancho, and then there's another one stationed in Tucumcari. We do a lot of scene flights for Catron County. We go to Alamo a lot. We fly all the way up to McKinley County and San Juan County. And then I'm from the Grants base, so those are the counties that we fly to. And then the Rio Rancho flight company will do more of the center part of the state, which they usually service you guys. But we do service you when they are unavailable. So with that being said, when the other flight crew is unavailable, we try to tag team it. And so if we're available, we will answer those calls. And We do have like some strict weather things. We are the most safe flight company in the United States. So if you look at our record, we are the safest flight company. They are really big on our safety. With the weather being said, you know, we always have to do weather checks, especially this time of year. You guys saw the snowstorm we just got. So we have to have, during the day, we have to have 5 miles of flight visibility, and at night we have to have 3 miles flight visibility. All of us, with exception of one crew member, will fly with night vision goggles. Those have to be approved from the US government. We do get those serviced and sent off every like 180 days, I believe. And if those are not useful or they are out of commission, then we have to then shut down the aircraft because we can't fly without them. So those are some things that, you know, we have to make sure that we have in order to fly.
Thank you, Cami. And with that being said, what Cami was mentioning is we are the safest air ambulance company in the nation. So our CAM safety ratings are second to none. We are the 3rd largest air ambulance company nationwide. However, in this area, we take probably a good way over half the calls in this area between Socorro, Cibola, Valencia, all of these counties, and Sandoval. We take probably the most of the flights. So PHI was established in 1949 in an offshore oil and gas industry, and then it expanded into air medical services. Nationwide, we have over 87 bases across the US with a fleet of over 100 helicopters. We transport more than 40,000 patients every year. Some of the services provided are emergency air medical transportation services, outreach and education to communities. So if some of your volunteer or smaller fire departments need some updated training, we provide that at no cost to them. I mean, they will have to pay the $20 for the card, but the services for us to come out here and to give any training is absolutely free, which can save you some serious coin. We have a family track system, which allows you to track your family within the ambulance, within the air ambulance. So out here in the state of New Mexico, either we've been flown or we know someone that has been flown. And if one of your family members is within the aircraft, you do want to keep track of them. So the hospital will give you a little QR code, and then they'll give you the flight number. And you're able to track them as they safely get your family member to their next level of care. So our base employees, they fly 24/7, 365 days a year. There's not a day that they take off. They have a flight paramedic, a certified registered nurse, a pilot, a mechanic, and a medical director at every base. Some of the medical and safety equipment that they carry within the aircraft is they have over 30 medications, a transport ventilator, IV pumps, fetal monitors, TXA medications, cardiac monitor. They have autopilot and stability. For the pilots, there's helicopter terrain awareness and the night vision goggles that she mentioned. The typical types of patients that they transport are traumas, cardiac patients, stroke, high-risk OB, burns, pediatric NICUs, and scene flights. So where they fly you to is your next level of care. Sometimes it might be UNMH. If you say, I want to go to Ref Medical, if there's a bed open and that's your next level of care, they can take what you say into consideration. But if you need a level 1 trauma center, you're going to UNMH. So what the PHI Cares membership program guarantees is there's no out-of-pocket costs when a member is transported with PHI. It doesn't matter if you have insurance or not, there's no out-of-pocket cost if you're a member with us. All co-pays and deductibles and out-of-pocket expenses are covered, and there's no limit to the time a member is flown. So if you're flown 4 times in 1 year, hopefully, I mean, that would be a bad year. Hopefully you never have to fly. But if you are, they're still all covered. There's no financial coverage limitations with the membership program that we have. So you already participate within the membership program. We have 92 verified flights from the program, which is millions of dollars of lights that have been forgiven to residents of Socorro County. We have, I had talked to the county manager, Mr. Andrew Lodrich, about the 1 year. To upgrade for 1 year, it's $35,077 if you want to continue with our services. We had talked about maybe a 4-year renewal. The 4-year renewal will be $140,308. You will be locked into that price, so it's a double-edged sword. If you have people that move out, we're not going to be able to relook at it and take the price down. But if you have people move in and Socorro grows, we're also not going to relook at it and change the numbers for you. If you want it to lock into that price, it would be locked in. We also talked about, you have Socorro County and then you have a couple contiguous counties around Socorro if you're flown out of. We talked about the upgraded version for the Socorro County employees. So the cost of that would be, for 1 year, would be $2,527, and we have 87 bases across 26 states. So if a Socorro County employee was in Arizona, per se, they would be covered in Arizona and Texas, anywhere we had a base. So if you draw a line from California to Florida, we're in most of the lower states. And so for 1 year would be $2,527, and if you would approve a 5-year, that would be $12,635. Do you guys have any questions for us?
Could you, Mr. Chairman, if I may, could you repeat that again on the cost? Because you said for the county, it'd be roughly
So
35,000, and then
for the county, for 1 year would be 35,000. Andrew and I had discussed 4 years. So for 4 years, it would be $140,308.
and then your last part, if you, the numbers that you read off.
Okay, so for the county employees, the total would be $2,527 for 1 year. And for the 5 years that we discussed, it would be the $12,635. The good thing about this is you own it. The county would own the roster slots. So let's say you get a secretary and she decides in a couple years, well, I don't want to work here anymore. She doesn't take it with her. You pull her out of that by emailing me quarterly employee movement. And so whomever replaces her would then take over that slot and be covered nationwide.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is actually going to be an action item 12D later on in this, to where we will discuss this more in depth with the proposal that we will be making at that time. But we wanted to do this presentation for the newly elected members that had not heard about what PHI and the agreement that we previously had in place with the county and PHI.
So Andrew, I'm not sure what that means for us, but keep in mind, if we don't have a decision by the end of January, you lose coverage for the residents. Any other questions for us?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can
Thank
bring
you.
that help with you next time.
And that's what family's for. So, we're ready for the other case now? We'll go back to item A, 11A. Eric, see face.
Thank you, Manager.
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, thank you. So if you have the slides in front of you, I'll just be starting off on slide 3, titled "What is CPACE?" So it stands for Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy. It's an alternative source of financing for improvements to commercial properties. So this is a unique partnership in between the private sector and local government, where the private sector fully funds the improvements, but the local government facilitates the placement of the improvement special assessment on the property. And this gives the investors greater security and then allows them to provide more competitive rates. So I just wanted to state that at the beginning of the presentation, and we'll dive a little bit more into it. And so it can cover both the direct and indirect costs related to 4 categories of improvements. So it's energy efficiency, reducing water consumption, generating renewable energy, or building resiliency. And so building resiliency could be ensuring that materials that are used will help with wildfire protection, or it could be something that would help with stormwater management. So that would fall into the resiliency category. You'll notice that those 4 categories are quite broad. They're meant to encapsulate a lot of different types of improvements, and it's really for the applicant to make their case to us on how the improvements on their property will fit into those 4 categories. And I should state that this can be used for both a retrofit and a new build. So it can be used in both cases. So eligible properties could include any privately owned commercial, agricultural, industrial, or multifamily property of 5 or more dwelling units. So that's where we have a little bit of an overlap with residential. If it's multifamily of 5 or more units by one property owner, then it would be eligible for this type of financing. And then it can also include properties that are owned by a not-for-profit organization. So really not properties that are owned by government public entities. Looking across the US, you'll just see some numbers. We have over 90 CPACE lenders and over $7 billion funded on over 3,000 commercial properties. Moving to the next slide, you'll just see a map of where there are active CPACE programs across the US, with New Mexico being one of the more recent programs to become active. So there's about 32 states that have active programs, and Washington, DC. Just moving on to the next slide on how to establish the program. So the first step is that a state has to pass a statute. And so this was done in New Mexico through the Special Assessment Act in 2023. My organization was only brought on board at the end of February last year. So we haven't even been around for a year. And we launched the program officially in April of last year. Once the state has passed the statute, counties and municipalities then need to opt in through passing their own legislation. So for a county, that would be through an ordinance, and for a municipality, it would be through a resolution. And in New Mexico, we require both of those. And we have sample legislation that we can share that can be adapted for any jurisdiction's use. And then again, just to reiterate that all the funds are provided through the private sector, so no public dollars or subsidy are utilized. The next slide, and I apologize, it might be hard to read, just kind of shows an overview of the application process. So very early on, we connect the property owner or developer to the lenders. They would agree to terms. Again, it's the private sector. They would then submit an application to us, and we would have 10 to 20 business days to respond to that application, whether it's approving it or whether it's requesting additional information. Oftentimes, we're a lot quicker than that, and we just accept applications on a rolling basis. I've highlighted some of the documentation that are required, or some of the key documents, which is our project application form, lien holder consent, and I'll get into why that's important. And then there's also a certificate from a licensed professional that shares how the improvements fall into the eligible categories. So once we've approved an application, and again, we're not trying to turn any property owners or developers away, they just need to meet the stipulations of the statute and ordinance. We would then notify the designated representative at the county. Typically, that's been the county manager, and they would sign off on 3 closing documents, and then the special assessment lien could be recorded. One of those documents that they sign off on gives a responsibility to the lender to collect, to do the billing and collection of repayments from the loan. And the reason I want to highlight that is because in earlier iterations of this program, the repayments actually showed up on the property tax bill of a county. But that was quite a burden to counties, because then they had to disperse the funds to the various lenders that were operating in a jurisdiction. And so in newer states, and a lot of states are changing their legislation, the county is just designating that to the lender. So functionally, it acts like a typical, loan where they disperse all the funds and then they collect them. But then legally, it's still a special assessment, which is something that the investors are keen on. And then once the repayments are complete, then of course, the release of lien is recorded. So really want to highlight, because this kind of outlines the county's role. I think a common question that we get is, what is the administrative burden? So us as a program administrator will be taking on all of the questions and the application approval. And then really, once we've approved the application, the county manager signs off on the documentation, and the county can either record the lien or they can actually designate that to the applicant as well. So that in passing legislation would be the responsibilities of the county. The next slide speaks to typical measures that are funded by CPACE. So you'll notice lighting upgrades, HVAC systems, boiler and hot water improvements in the renewable energy. Obviously, we're talking about things like solar, microgrids, EV charging stations, and then I spoke a little bit to the resiliency category. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to highlight a few case studies from first projects to close in New Mexico, and so it'll again speak to some of these measures. And then the next slide speaks to the general benefits of CPACE. So it can finance up to 100% of direct, indirect, and indirect costs. What I do want to highlight there is that for larger projects, lenders typically have a cap. And so it'll just be part of the capital stack. And typically that's 25 to 30% of a project that they're willing to fund. But we say up to 100% because for smaller projects, it can fully cover those costs. It also offers fixed interest rates, lengthy terms up to 30 years to repay. Something I found very interesting is that it has a 3-year look-back period. So this means it can refinance improvements that were already made as long as it's within 3 years of the application being approved. And our case studies will speak to this. It's secured by a property lien, so a personal guarantee is not required from the property owner, so that's often enticing. And it's non-accelerable in the event of default. So only what is owed at that time needs to be paid by the property owner. Looking at the benefits for the other stakeholders, from the property owner and developer's perspective, it's really overcoming the upfront costs of a potential project and allowing them to close, increasing the property value, the special assessment, because it's with the property, is transferred upon sale. And in certain cases, not all cases for sure, they can lower the operating costs through energy efficiency improvements to such an extent that it outweighs the payment that they need to make. So if that is the case, then that's obviously very beneficial to the property owner. Benefits for municipal and county governments. We really talk about this as an economic development tool. So it's allowing projects to close that otherwise might not be able to. In some cases, job creation, enhancing the local building stock within the jurisdiction. For those with sustainability goals, it can reduce the carbon footprint of buildings and increase their resiliency. And the last point, and I would say that this is not as significant, in certain cases, it can increase the property tax payments as well. But at times that's more negligible. From the perspective of the capital provider or the lender, I spoke to this, but because of the improvements on special assessment that's being placed on the property, it gives them greater security. And then they have increased collateral value and cash flow. And then the benefit for any existing lien holder on the property would be, again, to enhance the property value, improve the building's longevity. When you look at transactions that have closed for CPACE across the U.S., there's a very low level of default. So we would say that, it's not a significant credit risk and that they can improve their collateral. And then again, they're not being cut out of the conversation. So a lien holder has to give their consent for CPACE to be used on the property.
Quick question, Mr. Chairman. I see on the lien holders that you would have priority. How hard is that to get through the mortgage company?
It's case by case. There are some that don't want it, and then CPACE can't be used. And then, a lot of our CPACE lenders have experience having that conversation. There's a number of banks that have given consent, and so they can be connected to have that conversation. Typically, we're not engaged in that. We leave it to the applicant and to the lender to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And actually, just to your point, the next slide, and I won't touch on all these frequently asked questions, but one of them that we often get is the seniority lien holders, as you mentioned, kind of reading halfway through. This is from the statute. It says that the special assessment lien shall have priority superior to all liens, claims and titles except a lien for general ad valorem property taxes or an improvement district lien that is co-equal to property taxes. So we have property taxes, the improvement special assessment lien, and then lien holders who have consented will be after that. The other question that we often get, and I think I spoke to this, is liability for local government. So throughout the statute and the ordinance, there is language that just ensures that a county is not liable in any way for the debt of the property owner. They're not a third-party obliger. They're not pledging or lending a credit to the property owner. So that's made quite clear. The other question, again, is the administrative burden that I believe I've touched on. And so we've tried to make that as minimal as possible. I'll skip the next slide. It really is just talking about the responsibility of billing and collection, which I spoke to is the lender. And then interest rates similar to the private sector is determined between the applicant and the lender. The following slide talks about the administrative fees associated with CPAY. So all of our services are free until closing. And so whenever a transaction closes, then we have a 1% fee, so 1% of the total financing amount, and it's capped at $25,000. So that's the sole source of financing for the program. And this is outlined in greater detail in the program guidebook that is available on our website. And then the responsibilities of the program administrator, so far it's been really supporting counties and municipalities to opt in through passing legislation, of course, processing applications. We do a lot of educational outreach, and then we do provide semi-annual reports on each jurisdiction's loan portfolio, so they're kept up to date with transactions that have happened. The next slide just talks about our updates for New Mexico. So as I mentioned, we just launched in April of last year. So far the counties that have opted in include Bernalillo, Santa Fe, and Taos County. The municipalities associated to those that have opted in are Albuquerque, Taos, and Santa Fe. And then we're connected to a number of other counties that you'll see listed, with Donna Ana in the process of passing their legislation, and Los Alamos likely to be the next to also opt into the program. Our most exciting news was that at the end of last September, we had our first transaction close, which was connected to the Bishop's Lodge Resort, and that's one of the case studies I'll highlight with you shortly. The last points that I wanted to highlight is that currently we're connected to over 10 out-of-state capital providers who specialize in CPACE financing. But I do want to highlight that they typically will only fund projects of about $500,000, $1 million and up. So they're focused on mid to large scale projects. And so this is a gap for the program, and so one that we're currently trying to address. We've engaged with a number of New Mexican credit unions and other local banks to see if any of them have appetite to enter the market and to kind of serve projects in a lower category as well. And we're drawing on experience from other states. I just wanted to share, we've had conversations with the credit union in Minnesota, and they typically will fund projects that go as low as $20,000. Their typical transaction size is about $200,000, and they'll go up to $2.5 million. So that's what we're kind of hoping for when I say even with the smaller to mid-size projects. Moving on to the case studies that we have. So the Bishop's Lodge, I do want to highlight as abnormal in the sense that it's quite a large transaction, even just looking across the US. So it was $76 million over 25 years. They recapitalized on energy and water efficiency improvements that were made that started during the renovation of 2021 up until present. So this is using that 3-year back period. And they're still making improvements that include a wastewater treatment facility. So because it was such a sizable loan, they were actually able to refinance their existing senior loan on the property and allow them to transition to more favorable terms for them. So that's kind of the why Bishop's Lodge was interested in CPACE. The next slide shows the improvements that were made, and these are the typical ones you'll see: interior and exterior lighting, high efficiency HVAC and domestic hot water systems, high performance building envelope, low flow plumbing fixtures, and then their wastewater reclamation and desert landscaping. I won't go through all of them, but we've just listed the resulting annual utility savings for the property. Maybe a few that I can pull out is for electricity, they're saving over 600,000 kilowatt hours. and then their cost savings per year would be over $60,000. And then water, I can also highlight as over 5 million gallons. Something that I didn't mention earlier in my presentation, but just when I talk about improvements and then being eligible, basically the standard is that it has to reach code. So water, building energy codes, if it passes those codes, then it would be eligible for this type of financing. So some go well above and beyond, some of them just surpass it, and that's up to the applicant to decide. The next case study that I want to highlight, and both of these are from Santa Fe County, just outside the city limits, is the Modern Elder Academy Event and Retreat Center, which is located on a 160-acre ranch. This is more of a typical transaction. It's $10 million over 30 years. They also had done a new build of a few hotels, and so this was again using the refinance mechanism. And then the next slide kind of highlights very similar improvements that were covered, but they also had solar PV arrays, solar powered entry gates, and they put in a liquid waste disposal facility, which would fall into the resiliency category. And then you'll notice again some of the resulting annual utility savings attributed to those improvements. And then the last one, which is not from New Mexico, just because we are a new program, but I wanted to highlight a smaller transaction. This one is from Chicago. And I won't go through all the details, but it was $2.5 million over 20 years, again, just part of the capital stack. And so this was on an indoor farm, and you can see it has more substantial annual electricity savings and utility bill savings there as well. And I just wanted to end by highlighting our website, nmcpace.com, where you can find all of our application documentation, our sample legislation, and of course our contact information. And so, one of the reasons that I reached out to Socorro is we were approached by a lender who had a potential project in this area, I think connected to a hotel renovation. And so that's when I reached out to the county manager and then also to contacts at the city to explore it, and then was invited to come and present to you all today. So I appreciate your time and attention. I hope I didn't take up too much time, and we welcome any questions if there are.
Eric, I do have one question. When the 3-year look back period, is that no finance, say a guy did some improvements for reducing the electrical cost, get it out of pocket or had a loan on it, you're willing to, is that what that means?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So 3 years since the application is in.
Thank you. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So we're on 11C, Housing Authority.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. I am here to give a report on the Housing Authority. The first page is just our mission, our community demographics, and a description of our entity. The second page tells us the types of programs that we have. We have one major program, which is the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. The Housing Authority presently administers 600 vouchers under the Housing Choice Voucher Program, and this includes Socorro, Valencia, and Torrance. Out of those 600, because HUD does not fund us at 100%, they fund us at about 89%. We are using about 426 to 430 vouchers. For FY24, we use 97.9% of our funding, which was $3,313,753. We have a reserve of 2.2%, which is 70,142. We also have support programs, which is the Family Self-Sufficiency Program and the Home Ownership Program. The Family Self-Sufficiency Program is one of New Mexico's PHAs to engage HUD's Family Self-Sufficiency Initiative. It began in 1999. We provide services based on education, job training, life skills, GED, and small business development, graduating. We have about 30 families that participate in this program. It's a 5-year program, and in 24, we were able to, because they have to set large goals and small goals. We were able to graduate one person, and this person received $15,000, because in this program, you start off on the program like you're at zero income. You get a job. So let's say that when you're at zero income, your portion of the rent is going to be like $50. You get a job, your rent's going to go up. Let's say it goes up to $100. We're able to put on an escrow interest-bearing account under the housing authority, and we pay $50 into that account. So this person was able to save at least $15,000 that we graduated for her, and she went on to buying her own home. In Valencia County, we were able to graduate another person in 23. This person was a father of two kids, and we were able to collaborate with USDA rural development, and we were able to do the loan at between a 0 and 1% interest rate. So he was able to get the home. And the person started, he didn't have a job. Within 6 months, he was able to get a job. And within the year, he was able to pay his own rent. This is under the homeownership program. This homeownership program allows us to, instead of you being a renter, they're able to stay on the program and become homeowners. And we are able to pay their mortgage, and they're able to pay some of the mortgage. And usually it could be a 15-year loan or a 30-year loan. But once you don't qualify for the program and you're able to do the mortgage on your own, that's even better. We also have HUD-VASH. This HUD-VASH is a supportive program through the Veterans Affairs. We have 15 vouchers within our area, which our area covers Socorro, Valencia, and Torrance. The applications have to come through the VA, and the VA is the support. They do the medical stuff. They do the supportive services. So they're in their homes a lot, and we're only able to pay their home. We also have a home rehab program, and this program, back in 2007, we were able to do 27 homes in the Alamo Navajo Nation. We were able to partner with the Navajo Nation, and we were able to get HOSTA funding, and that's how we were able to demolish and rebuild 27 homes in the Alamo Navajo Nation. As of today, we have expanded our area, or MFA expanded our area, and we do Socorro, Valencia, Torrance. We also do the northern region, which is Cibola, Taos County, Colfax County, Catron County, and not San Miguel, Taos County. Those are the areas that we're able to do rehabilitation in. We did 5 homes within our area. We did 1 home in Catron County. We did 1 home in Magdalena, and we did 3 homes in Socorro County. The amount that we are able to that they were able to give us was about $425,000 per year. Now, what this happens is they give us 5 homes, but as soon as we finish those 5 homes, they're ready to give us another 5. Under the Section 8 project-based vouchers, which is Socorro Village and Vista Montano. For Vista Montano, we are the management agent, and we receive about $60,000 in management fee. For Socorro Village, we are the owners of Socorro Village, and our budget for that is about $418,207. We also have the Continuum of Care program for the homeless. We have 2. On one of them, it is strictly for Socorro County. The second one, which is a little bit larger, is for Socorro and Valencia County. But they also we're only able to house 13 in Socorro and then 16 within Socorro and Valencia County. And we were able this year to get 325,276 individuals. In 2020, HUD came and asked us to be the contract agent for the Northern Regional Housing Authority. We assist about 376 individuals, and the total amount that we receive for that housing authority, or for us because we manage it, is about $2,777,647. In January of 24, HUD again came and asked us if we could be the contract agent for San Miguel County. We assist about 100 families in that area, and the total amount that we receive is $815,000. The Housing Authority applied 4 years in a row for the low income tax credits, which was a 9% tax credit. We were denied the first 3 years. Last year, we were able to finally be approved for 32 units of permanent supportive housing. And if you look at our project, this is gonna be the project that's going over there up by the hospital. And we were able to receive in funding $13,345,016. In 24, we were also able to receive $1 million from Senator Ben Ray Lujan's office. The complex will have 7 units for special needs, and the supportive services for these units will be supplied by the Socorro County Alternatives Program. The project should be completed between April or May of this year. The total amount of recurring funding that the Housing Authority presently gets is $7,799,840. When I first started as the executive director, we had a total of $880,000 with only one program, which was the Section 8 voucher, and we had 167 vouchers. So thank you for allowing us to speak. And this is one of my commissioners.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I sit on this board and I'm very proud of the work they do. It's not just Mary Ann, although she's the heart of the program. She's got a great staff, and she's very well recognized throughout the state for all the work she does. She was asked to clean up some messes up north, and she's done it. She's turning it around other counties as well as ours. But you see these totals we're talking about. When she started, it was 800,000. As we sit here today, it's almost 8 million. That's times 10. And this isn't homeless shelters that we're talking about. We're talking about homes. We're talking about helping people get their own homes, rebuilding homes that are out here in Socorro. This money goes to local landlords in our county, so they're not having to chase their tenants trying to find rent. It comes regularly with rules. Our project there, we're very, very proud of it. But any of you want to talk to her or anybody on the board more about that, that's a great program, because currently the programs, the 2 housing units we have now is just that housing. This comes with all the ancillary services that they'll need, including therapies. So I really like that we've taken that step, and it was a very difficult step. It came during COVID. The prices kept changing on us. We had to go find more money, but Mary Ann and her staff, along with Representative Jaramillo and others that stepped up to help finish funding it, we were able to break ground, and we're on schedule to open in the middle of the year. So I think the whole office deserves applaud, and I encourage you guys to go and visit and tell them what a great job they're doing, because those are big numbers that would bring you to housing in Socorro County. So I applaud Mary Ann, and I'm very proud to sit on this board. My name is Bel Manaya. Thank you.
I also wanted to let you know that when we started, we only had a staff of 3. We have a staff of 15. We are also a high performer housing authority. There's only 3 in the state, and that is us. And Northern Regional was a troubled housing authority within the Section 8 program, and my staff and I were able to bring it out of trouble status last year. So we're really proud of that. We do have staff that is very well educated in their jobs. We do have training all the time for my staff. So if it wouldn't be for my staff and for my board members and you guys, we wouldn't be where we are today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's not just the state that recognizes her, but on the national level recognizes her as well. She's been asked to speak at multiple conferences, nationwide conferences. So we really have a gem in Marianne Chavez and our housing authority. So
thank you.
Thank you. So item 11D, Tri-County Day at State Legislature on March 6, 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. So I just wanted to make sure that you put this on your calendars, that this is, the tri-counties are Socorro, Catron, and Sieta counties. And the 3 of us, you guys previously approved the ability to go through the SCOG to be the financial agent for this endeavor. Currently, it's not expected that there's going to be any full appropriation needed from Socorro County, as we've been able to secure the private ventures and donors to be able to pay for this entire endeavor. Now, the one thing I wanted to make sure that I brought this to you is keep track of your emails, that when the information comes for the ability to get a room, we're basically going to have 24 hours to act. So that's why you guys will need to make sure that the emails is going to be the quickest way that I can get you the information as soon as it's hot off the press, so that if you plan to attend, we can make sure we can secure the room for you when they become available. We're not at this time allowed to pre-book the rooms because it's going to be limited capacity. So just keep an eye on your county emails for when that comes through. We currently have, unlike last year, Socorro County actually has the goodie bags and different things that are going in it for all of the senators and representatives as well as their staffs. So we're a little bit in front of the ball game. We had wanted to do this actually in February, but unfortunately with SCOG's involvement, there was a hiccup in the scheduling. So we had to do it in March, which is a little late for my take, because March is when all of the activity at the legislature really ramps up. And so you have limited time with all the senators and representatives, but it's before the last 2 weeks. So hopefully we'll be able to get them before they start their 24/7 sessions with the budget material. So with that, I'll stand for questions.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, has there been a schedule of what, is it going to be all day or evening, or do we know any of that yet?
Right now, it's going to be a 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock event at La Fonda. And anybody that comes during the day, depending upon the availability of the staffs themselves, there hopefully will be some floor time available for all of you to go ahead and be recognized before. However, that hasn't been finalized with a time specific as of yet, but they're working through the Speaker of the House and the President Pro Tem of the Senate to try to get those organized so that we can get you that actual time when all the elected officials will be recognized.
Thank you.
Chairman, if I may, so now that we have moved, the possibility of having 2 meetings down to 1, possibly a second, my recommendation is, instead of just shoot an email, just give us a call. Just give us a call. That way it's just quicker.
With all due respect, Vice Chair, the only problem with that is if I call, then individuals that I call first will have an undue ability to respond first. rather than if it's an email, it's sent to everybody at the same time, and you guys will first come, first serve basis. And that way I don't put my staff in a bad situation to where they're making the phone calls, and then we get into the situation of, well, why was he called first before me? So if we only have 2 rooms of availability, we don't want to create that type of scenario for the staff.
Shoot an email, then call us. Because it's not, I'm pretty sure we're not all sitting on our email on a daily basis and whatnot. So, it would be nice, like I said, it would be nice to participate. And like I said, if you could shoot that email, and then also just follow up with a phone call. Just go from there.
Anything else?
No, thank you, sir.
Item 11E, New Mexico workforce.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Rachel Lucero, and I work actually for the WIOA program. But being I'm the only one in the office, I represent the whole workforce office. And my office covers lots of things. I find myself even assisting people with DMV services. Our people around here that utilize this office, they need it for knowledge of the jobs, people wanting to get better careers, go back to school. Things like that is on a basic workforce connections level. Delving into my program, that's the kind of that I set out for you guys in there. There's a lot of different documents that we give out to our participants. You can look over them. Basically, it's identity requests and kind of to get eligibility. Basically, what WIOA does is we assist people with short-term certificates, such as like CDLs, dental assisting, medical coding and billing, things like that. Those don't require high school diplomas or GEDs or anything like that in order to get that type of certification. So it's kind of like a hobby for participants at this point to go further with their careers. We also do on-the-job trainings. Now, our on-the-job trainings have 2 categories. One is an on-the-job training, OJT in general. What that is WIOA reimburses that employer 75% of the wages that they give out to the participant. When it's a transitional job, which is called a TJ, usually the participant is a person that's facing barriers, possibly ex-offenders, blemishes on backgrounds to where normal businesses won't necessarily give them a look at their application, basically because of those barriers. Transitional job systems know that. Now, because the participant will have barriers of this matter, the transitional reimbursement is 100%, not 75%. Now, all of these positions are all contractual, dependent on what position is needed. We do have quite a few employers in Socorro, however, there can be so many more. So if you guys have questions, like I kind of want to make it quick just because it's such a big umbrella that the workforce covers. I personally would love to see more employers here utilizing this program to help our participants, to help our people in Socorro. I just don't know how, other than my word of mouth, I talk to everybody of how to get it all out there. So anytime you folks know of a business, a participant, or a person that needs services, please send them to me. We cover so many things. The WIOA program itself covers. Say a participant comes in, they want to go for school. Okay, they don't have a diploma, they don't have a GED. They literally are just trying to get out of the hole and get some kind of income. That's their main objective. Basically, first barrier is income, then housing for them to get that foot, going. WIOA will qualify them, help them get enrolled with their short-term certificate, say CDL. From there, we would assist them with those classes and then see about getting them their GED, their high school diploma, depending on age, however it affects it. But we want to see success for these people. Our stories that we've had just with people since I've been here, I've only been here about 1.5 years. I was brand new to case management, so this was a whole different breed of monster for me. But I've had 3 successful so far in 1.5 years. All 3 have been CDLs, but one in particular was a gentleman working at Walmart. He would see the people taking in the stuff to Walmart, and he was like, hey, I bet you I could be a truck driver. And word of mouth, he got sent to our office, and we got him enrolled with the CDL classes that we work with Phoenix Truck Driving School in Albuquerque. And he is now a CDL driver. He's gotten a better job now. He still works for Walmart, but he's gotten that different level, and he is completely happy with it. He got his outcome that he wanted, and he was a success story for us. We have funds that assist with supportive services. These people come in, some of them want to do classes online. A lot of people can't afford a laptop. We provide laptops as a supportive service. Internet assistance for them to utilize for their classes online if that's what they're going. Gas reimbursement for them traveling. Gosh, there's just so many things. I know kind of focus more on WIOA. But the workforce itself is able to help people get their resumes in order, job searching. Everything nowadays is online, and the people I've been serving aren't very well acquainted with that yet. They're not up to par, so they need a lot of hands-on help, and they get it here. I don't have access to a lot of state stuff yet, but I have them a little behind what I try to help my people here. So I just wanted to kind of put it out there, let you guys know the little packets in there, like flyers and stuff are all available here on the back wall. Our office will be going through a name transition to the America's Job Corporation. They haven't gotten all of it out yet. There's still flyers back there and stuff. That just happened now in January. Other than that, I think I'm better if you guys have questions to answer them that way.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, members of the board, this presentation was brought to you that back in October, November is when we approved the lease agreement for them to utilize our space here in the building. So we just wanted to make sure that we came forward to you to show these were the different activities that were now occurring within the county building based upon that initiative to try to do more outreach programs to our constituencies and to be able to get them to now realize that the county is more than just the county, that we're now trying to do these outreach programs. And so that's why this partnership has been evolved and will continue to evolve in the near future as we continue to figure out ways in which we can expand access to different programs.
And then I outreach as well to the sister programs that we have. We have the DVR, we have independent living. I've worked with just other community agencies that are here, and we all work cohesively. It's a really good thing. And being here in this building is a little bit of a transition. Everybody knew it was across the street from Blake's. Now we're here, and they seem to take a liking to it. I've gotten a lot more foot traffic. Hopefully soon they'll be sending me a person. FYI, that position is open if you guys do know anybody that needs that job. Other than that, thank you for your time this evening. Any questions? The door's open.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. 12 action items. Consideration of resolution 2025-24 volunteer fire department stipend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is one of those things that when Gail took over as our county fire chief, one of the initial discussions we had, which is how do we actually start improving outreach to get more volunteer firefighters. So in the very, very short period of time that we had her in that position, this is what she was able to accomplish for us. So what you have before you is a revamp to the actual stipends that are being made available to the volunteers. And it is with my great pleasure that I say, I recommend this, that the hard work that Gail did throughout her short term, this is going to be the payoff, and it should be able to now get us moving forward to address one of those main concerns that when speaking with individuals out there, why aren't you becoming a volunteer? This stipend should be able to be helped to address it. And it falls within the budgeted amount, so you don't have to do any amended budget adjustments for these new stipends.
Question?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'm sure you know from your previous slide, but volunteers are a dying breed, and it's so hard to find them. And I think we need to do what we can to try and recruit as many as we can. It's harder and harder to find people that will take their own personal time to do these things. So I'm in full support.
Agreed. So the stipends are generated out of firefighting?
Correct.
You said we do have it in front of us. I'm trying to maybe.
In the
packet.
Yeah, in the
Which one?
packet.
Packet?
If I remember right, I think it's like chief and assistant chief or an annual stipend, and everybody else is basically an hourly when there's an active. They're called out to perform whatever duties they're asked to do.
That is correct. And one of the things we also added into this is for the trainings that are going to be taking place.
What tab number or what tab letter?
Sorry, why?
One?
Why?
Why? Oh, which is the one that we're just talking about. Yes.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, to answer your question, that is correct, that when it comes to the chief and the assistant chief, their annual stipends, and what we did in there as well is with the training components, we make sure that the individuals to receive the stipend are taking the entire training rather than just showing up for 5 minutes, putting the signature on and leaving. This way we make sure that all of our county residents are going to have highly qualified individuals that are going to be providing these fire services.
I'm assuming there'd be some kind of a paper trail as far as like a voucher or a one report for hours and that kind of thing.
Correct. We did put in there that there's a monthly component to this, that what we were finding when we were looking for this, it was one of those under the previous fire chiefs that we couldn't actually find any true paper trail. So this is now creating that paper trail, and it's putting the onus on the fire chiefs that they have to do this once a month.
So I believe I have a motion for.
I will make a motion to approve. Yes, sir.
I will vote second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Monette and a second from Commissioner Zacatero for the approval of Resolution 2025-24 volunteer fire department stipend. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, Resolution 2025-24 volunteer fire department stipends is approved. B, Resolution 2025-25 PMS services inside detention facility.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, this was a place saver just in case we got it done. We have not completed it yet. PMS is still meeting with their higher ups, waiting for word from them. As soon as that comes down, we anticipate hopefully putting this back on the agenda come February. But as of right now, we're still underneath in those initial discussions.
Mr. Chairman, Andy, will that be for the next two items? Are they working on both of them, or is C still going to be action item tonight?
C is ready to roll.
Okay, so I make the motion to table resolution 25-25.
One second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Monette and a second from Commissioner Montoya to table Resolution 2025-25 PMS services inside detention facility. All in favor?
Can I ask a quick question on that though?
Sure.
What's our timeline on that? Are we still inside the facility,
The sooner the better. This is one of those that it's something that I know when Commissioner Monette was previously on the commission, that it was something that was trying to be done.
Yeah.
But we got them to the table now. And so this is one of those things that the initial meetings went really, really well. And so we should be able to get something done to address one of those real concerns, which is how do we actually start getting those required medications into the detention center?
By golly, that means we're having a second meeting in January then.
Probably not.
Just a joke.
So, discussion, non-opposed, resolution 2025-25, PMS service inside detention facilities tabled. Item C, consideration agreement with PMS for Villita Health Center.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I make the recommendation that we enter into this agreement with PMS for the Villita Health Center. That one of the things that was happening is that it used to be just a year to year, we constantly had to take action on it. This makes it a multi-year contract. And so now we have that ability to make sure that PMS is going to stay with us for an extended period of time. And it's going to help both PMS and the county because we no longer have to do this on a year-to-year basis.
Same price?
Same price, no increase.
So in terms of days of operation, are we still looking same thing in regards to from previous contract then?
The only thing that changed in the contract is the years of the contract itself. There's nothing else that has changed within the terms.
So when you say multiple years, I mean, like I said, I don't have the resolution in front of me. So whenever you say the multiple years, how many years are we looking at?
It's 4 years, Mr. Vice Chairman,
Okay.
and it's of course, we're running this in a strange way. We had to do an RFP last time to obtain a provider for our facility. That said, they're the only qualified provider that can access. There's a term for it, federally. There's a term for it, and I don't remember what it is. So that we were able to do a sole source determination this time with publishing it for 30 days to make sure that they indeed were the only one that was going to respond. So we are providing them a certain amount of money to perform, services up there. That said, what we provide them is a drop in the bucket. They have to obtain the most of what they get from Medicaid and Medicare reimbursement. I believe it is only a couple of days a week, but that said, looking at their numbers, that at this point, that's all that it sustains. They don't have enough business to have a higher amount. That said, if the time does come up in the next 4 years, I know that PMS both of us would agree to increase the number of days, certainly if they get the volume, because it does provide an essential service that, for instance, the Boys and Girls Ranch would not have very easy medical access, and then most of the people up there don't have it at all. So it does provide an essential service. Strange partnership, but very beneficial to the community.
So moved.
Second. So moved from Commissioner Aguilar first, now I have a second from Commissioner Zacatero. And for approval of consideration agreement with PHI Cares memberships. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agreement passes for PHI. Item D. 12E, consideration and support.
Oh, that was 12C.
Oh, 12C, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. 12C, PHI Villita Health Center. 12D, consideration of agreement for PHI Cares for memberships for Socorro County residents.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This is the one that we just heard the presentation on. It's a continuation of what Socorro County had already been doing. So this was already built into the budget for this continuation of it for this next year. That what we have is an option of either 1 to 4 years of what we would be looking at getting, but I just heard here. My recommendation is we go ahead and do the year, because that's the dollar amount that had been previously provided. And I had not heard of the actual dollar amount for the 4 years until tonight. So it'd be my recommendation that we continue this same service that we've provided previously to the Socorro County residents. And if you do the dollar amount, it comes down to $7 per household to get to that $35,000 amount that was quoted.
I hear a motion.
So move.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Aguilar and a second from Commissioner Zacatero for the improvement of the PHI CARES membership for Socorro County residents. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion?
I just have one question. So in terms of budget wise, it's already allocated?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if the numbers are me correct, they were willing to commit to a 4-year deal. I think it's just what, cash up front. It was the same amount.
Okay.
So, what happened? Oh, we got approved, yeah. Action item 12B, consideration agreement with PHI CARES membership for Socorro County resident passes. Moving on, action item 12E, consideration of support for withdrawal or withdrawal of support for Utah federal lands amicus curiae. Is that French?
Good job.
We'll try. Mr. Mike, would you like me to introduce this one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this is an item that was brought to us by the Arizona, New Mexico Coalition of Counties that came through Chairman Antonio Ray Martinez. And basically with the Arizona, New Mexico Coalition of Counties, if it's an item that numerous counties in that coalition is interested in, then there is a mechanism within that organization for each of the counties, that are members to choose to basically put money towards a legal case or not to put it towards a legal case. This particular case that was brought to us by the former chairman was a lawsuit. So things just changed here in the last 12 hours. Was a lawsuit brought by the state of Utah that basically said it's unconstitutional, or their claim is that it's unconstitutional for the state, for the federal government to hold on to all of this federal land without doing something with it. So basically just having huge swaths of BLM or Forest Service that the Constitution designs is that the feds are supposed to do something with the land, not just have large swaths of it that they continuously lease out. The argument that the reason that the Arizona, New Mexico Coalition of Counties got involved and requested Socorro County be involved with was the fact that when there are these large swaths of land, the counties do not receive tax money from those large swaths of land and property taxes. We still have to provide services, i.e. if there's a murder on the forest, the county sheriff still has to go and address that murder. We do receive a small amount of money, payment in lieu of taxes every year, $1 to $2 million. But that is a drop in the bucket compared to if all the 1/3 of the land in Socorro County was private, we would receive a lot more. So that's the reason the reason they requested us to be a part of it. There are lots of arguments of other people against it, in that you then take away the ability of the federal government to regulate, to have quite a bit of environmental regulations, to do multi-use of the property, oil and gas drilling, recreational uses, and other uses of that. So there's certainly arguments for and against. I believe it was last month. No, it was in November. This board voted to add or to help support the lawsuit, and voted to issue $400 to file the amicus to join in Utah with it. Commissioner Zacatero has requested, and properly so, in that he was voted in the majority in the last vote to reconsider our support, or Socorro County's support of this particular lawsuit. I will say this, just recently, and I think I just basically found this just now, that the Supreme Court did not agree to take this lawsuit on. So I believe that the lawsuit at this point is dead. But that said, the item that Commissioner Secretarial has requested is to reconsider the support of this particular lawsuit. I do not believe the $400 is already spent, but this board can consider whether it is official position would be to support that litigation or not support that litigation. I'll turn it over to Commissioner Secretarial.
So just, bottom line in regards to being able to, the surrounding resources that we have in regards to the National Forest and also the BLM, and, to pretty much privatize majority of that. And, taking reconsideration and whatnot, doing more research on it, I was like, whoa. We're in a land of, number one, we're in a land of enchantment. Number two, we're in the land of wide open spaces here, and I just hate for us to get caught up within all of that. So that's why I asked Attorney Nance to say, hey, you know what, we should really reconsider this, because next thing you know, we're going to have multiple settlements around us and whatnot. So that was my reasoning behind it. So.
Now, do those federal lands revert back to the state, back to individuals? How is it supposed to?
I think, as they say, I think it was more of a position. I don't think anyone really knew how anything would be administered, but I think the thought was that if these, if that is indeed unconstitutional to administer federal lands as the state of Utah is claiming that it is, and of course Utah is in a situation where like 80% of their lands are federal. We're in a situation in New Mexico where I think about a third of it is, and that eventually that land would have to be divested in some way, like for instance the Homestead Act of 1865, in some way like that, or granted to local or tribal governments, but that the feds wouldn't be administering. The state would, perhaps like under the Enabling Act, would have to receive more land. They would say that the feds could not administer that amount of land.
If I may, I don't see this going anywhere. If anything like this was to come out of the courts, I think it's going to be tied up in the courts for at least 50 years if I had a crystal ball. I mean, this isn't anything that's going to happen overnight.
I think it's done actually as of just a few minutes ago. I think that it's not going anywhere because the Supreme Court rejected it.
I was actually a supporter of this just to try and get the feds to pay us the amount of PILT we should be being paid, pay us equally like a property taxpayer pays. And that's why, and I thought maybe that would bring them to the table. I serve on a committee on the National Association of Counties, and this is one of the things that we discussed a lot. But I agree, I think it's dead, but I can appreciate Commissioner Secretarial's opinion. I think we're just trying to get the feds to come to the table with more money on paying us the PILT that we deserve. Thank you.
We definitely deserve more.
Yeah.
It's up to this board whether it wants to reverse or take a position. That is up to this board.
Do we have a motion either way?
I would make a motion in regards to withdraw the support for the federal lands, in regards to just so that it's on record.
Can I second?
You can under our rules.
It sounds like it's dead, but to make it official, I think we should. I'll second.
Like more tax money, but
Yeah. You're not gonna get one. They take one.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
One quick question. If we do this, I don't know the process or procedure as to where this would go. So I'm not sure of any administrative action that I would actually be able to take, that if the motion passed, there wouldn't be anything for me to do because the check was cashed, the lawsuit's been rejected. So I don't know that I would be able to show you guys anything that I did to make your wishes come true. I think just with your ability now to go on the record and say, in the future, when these things come up, who's ever sitting on that on this committee brings back more information to you all to share and have a better discussion as to what it is you guys are pushing forward in the positions you have. And I think now with it being in our minutes,
record.
And it's on the record that this is the position you had, but I think from my vantage point, I wouldn't be able to do anything.
No,
I think that's correct. That I think that it is just a record only.
Yeah.
If it passes, and it may not, if it passes, it would be only record. I don't think there's anything administratively to do.
So is it a one-time $400 check, or is it like a yearly fee?
That was a one-time $400 check to support the brief that was supporting this lawsuit.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Do we get a second? Yeah, do we get a second? Oh, I seconded.
You seconded.
That was joking, no? Anyway, which item was that?
E.
E? Yeah. So we have a motion from Commissioner Secretarial and a second from myself for withdrawal and the support of the Utah Federal Lands, I'm not gonna say the rest, action. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
So it's 3-2?
Yeah.
So, motion passes 3-2. Action item 12F, acknowledge personnel.
No, F is the food service management agreement.
Somebody gotta wake Joe up.
No, it says it there.
F.
It says, it's personal.
F is
No.
personnel.
No.
Yeah.
Mine says consideration.
You got the special one.
Oh, man.
You got the ending version.
On the spot. So the new F, consideration of amendment number 2, the food services management agreement for Socorro County Detention Center.
I believe the F was published as that, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
That's not what
So with this food service management agreement, this is one of those that I recommend we do as quickly as possible before the food management entity figures out what they did. But what it is they, for the last 3 years, didn't increase our rates. They requested a one-time 5% increase that is in effect for the next 4 years, 3 to 4 years. So basically, we would only be paying a 5% increase in food prices for the last 7 years combined, which is absolutely huge. So my recommendation is we approve the contract as written.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion from Commissioner Aguilar and a second from Commissioner Montoya for the approval of, I don't have it in mind. The food services for the detention center.
So how long are we locked in again?
For 4 years?
For 4 more years? Okay, thank you.
5%. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
And Mr. Chairman, just for the record, that is based on a state price agreement, and that's their consumer price index increase on the state contract.
Item
G.
G or F2, acknowledge personnel changes. Do you want to do that?
What, do you read them? Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Sure.
Personnel changes are Brittany Chavez, clerk supervisor, clerk's office is a new hire. Martin Ray Gonzalez, Detention Center Officer 1, new hire. Robert Montoya, Project Supervisor, Road Department, resigned. Stephen Kaiser, GIS Technician, Emergency Management, new hire. Andrew Tafoya, Laborer 2, transfer from maintenance. Motion to acknowledge.
Second.
Second.
So acknowledge personnel exchange as presented, presented by Commissioner Monette, acknowledged, seconded by Commissioner Takasero. All in favor? Against? Personnel changes pass. Okay. Action item 13A, approval of, are we doing to get an A and B vendor checks and a payroll checks?
You want me to go ahead and do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let you take a break?
Yeah.
We've always combined action item 13A and B. Okay, so my motion is to approve the following. 13A, approval of vendor checks in the amount of $5,254,211.39. And B, approval of payroll checks. 3 different dates. November 28th, $313,501.06. December 12th, $235,092.31. And then December 26th for the amount of $979.94. Totaling item B, totaling the 3 amounts for $871,573.31.
Vendor checks and the amounts written and the payroll checks and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. One approved. Motion passes. Vendor checks and payroll checks are approved. Do we have executive session? Yeah, we do. I need a motion and a roll call vote to go into executive session and that pursuant to New Mexico State Statute, Section 10-15-1, only the following matter will be discussed in closed sessions. A, pending litigation 10-15-1, New Mexico State Ethics Committee versus CLLA members. B, personnel, county manager. That's it.
Second.
Roll call vote. Commissioner Aguilar. Oh, no, you do it now.
Chair Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Monette,
Yes.
Commissioner Aguilar,
Yes.
Commissioner Montoya,
Yes.
Vice Chair Secretary.
Yes, ma'am.
We're in executive session.
Just so you all know, we're no longer doing executive session in this little room over here. We're now up in my office. Okay. That the table's been moved.
Andy's going to.
Okay.
So next week, the association comes.
Yeah, I'll be up there.
Did you like the rest?
You could try.
Registration closed.
On-site only. Okay, we're ready.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we come out of executive session and into regular session pursuant to section 10-15-1 and only matters discussed were the New Mexico State Ethics Commission versus CLLA members and the county manager, and that no final action was taken.
I'll second that.
We'll call it.
Roll call vote?
Chair Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Monette,
Yes.
Commissioner Secretary,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Montoya,
Yes.
Commissioner Aguilar,
Yes, ma'am. Okay, 15, right? Active.
We still have an action item.
Yeah, we saw 15A.
15A, oh yeah, action, approval of amended joint powers agreement establishing the county livestock loss authority.
Motion to
Mr. Chairman, the Commissioner,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, all this does would be to change the fiscal agent from Sierra County to Catron County. Sierra County doesn't want to be the fiscal agent and Catron County does, so I recommend approval.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it. Got a motion to approve from Commissioner Monette, a second from Commissioner Montoya. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 16, next commission, February 11th at 5 p.m., correct?
Correct.
And number 17, we're adjourning at 6:30. Nice meeting.
All right, and
We're adjourned.
Elaine will
we just need to get,